Hey, welcome to your Cancer horoscopes for the week of the 17th through the 23rd. Christmas is next week, but we still have a lot going on this week as we're full on into that Mercury retrograde, which is in Capricorn currently, although it is moving into Sagittarius by the end of the week. We also have a solstice this week, as well as we are moving on into winter and the sun is moving into Capricorn. And more planets in Capricorn means more challenges for Cancer when there are planets in Cancer, which is not happening this week. Next week, though, is a different story. But we'll look at next week, Howie. Actually, there's no planets in Cancer this week, and there is nothing really influencing Cancer either. We do have Vespa in Cancer still for the very beginning of the week, but in a retrograde moves out of Cancer and into Gemini by the end of this week. So even that influence is kind of gone. Focuses on the home, the perfect focus to have for Cancers, especially this time of year, because where else would you want to be, right? But when it's cold outside, but at home, snuggled under a blanket in front of your fire, if you're allowed to have one in California, they're really frowning on fires and fireplaces these days, more and more and more every year. But we don't really need fires, right? We have usually most of us have heating in our houses outside of fires. So snuggling up and keeping warm and creating that secure space is what it's all about. The big issue, though, I feel, is the reverse of that when it feels like you're stuck at home or you're stuck in a position to where you feel like you really can't enjoy the upcoming festivities and the upcoming holidays and all of that good, fun stuff that is coming up. Most introverts don't really care, they'd rather not be in a place with a whole bunch of people. But even the most introverted introvert gets a little bit bored and trapped inside their home after a while. And that feeling is the first step towards you got to do something. I feel like, I mean, I love being at home also. I have a Cancer rising. I'm not a Cancer, but I do have a Cancer rising. And that security of that safe place, that my spot that I've made nice and comfortable for myself, I love that. There's nothing better in the world than that feeling until that feeling starts to feel like it's shackling you. And then it does start to become a problem after a while. So I feel that this week's focus really is to leave the home every once in a while, maybe even just once, and maybe even just for a little bit. And it doesn't have to be a party with a bunch of people where the energy is just overwhelming for you. And it doesn't even have to be to a store with a lot of people where the energy is just overwhelming you. It could be something that is completely different from that. I feel that my secure place becomes a burden until I put myself in a position to really appreciate it. And the only way to appreciate it is to leave it every now and then. Because when you leave it and you come back, it feels so good. But when you're just stuck in there after a while, to me, it feels like a cave. It gets really dark, it gets really depressing. And I feel like this has a lot to do with depression around the holidays. And especially since the pandemic, so many people seem to not want to leave their house still, whether it's fear, whether we've just gotten really used to it. I mean, there's a lot of jokes going around that time about how people just didn't even wear pants, they just walked around with no pants because they didn't have to leave the house. So what's the use of even putting pants on? A lot of people did work with videos. So yeah, top was definitely needed to be a thing, but pants, you can't see if I'm wearing pants or not. By the way, I am just saying. Never in front of the camera without pants on, that's for sure. The point is that that's all fun and games and wonderful at first, but even the most introverted person starts to get that feeling of being cut off. And once you start getting into that feeling of being cut off, you also start to get a little bit depressed. And honestly, it's just really important to get yourself out of that as much as possible. So if you don't want to experience what other people are experiencing, that's perfectly fine. Find something else to experience that is just as good, even if it's interaction with one other person. Nobody said you had to be the life of the party, just said that it is a good idea every now and then to get out of your space so that you can appreciate your space. Because if you don't, your space starts to become a little bit too heavy to be in after a while, and it's just not the comfortable space that you created. So that's what I have for you guys this week. If you love your horoscopes, do consider sending a tip or donation to my link in the description, my coffee link in the description. I would really appreciate that. Also in the description of this video, I am currently running a 25% discount on all 1 hour readings through the end of the year. There is no limit to how many readings you can get either. You can get that 25% discount over and over and over again if that is what you want to do. Simply make a note of the promo code, which is there in the description of the link. Click on the link, put that promo code in there when you place your order, and boom, you get your 25% discount. It really is that simple. I'm Melissa Bruce, Heavy Metal Psychic. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. You guys make it a great week. There's no reason for you to feel like you are just slipping away, being forgotten by the world. Get out there, do something that you love to do, and then go back to that wonderful fuzzy blanket, which is going to become so much more comfortable now that you've left it. I'll see you guys next week. You guys make it a great week.